fans. For the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies!
And welcome back to the Carolina Ale House off of Kingston Pike. It's time for the second segment of our Pilot pregame show. We'd like to remind everybody that Pilot is committed to connecting people and places with comfort, care, and a smile at every stop. Check out one of our conveniently located stations and try our delicious burritos, jumbo wings, tenders, pizza, hot home-style meals, and more. Pilot, see you out here. All right, we just listed off a bunch of food items, and I think it's time for us to dive into some food here at the Carolina Ale House. I had myself a entree of a pub burger, which was crispy onion strings, some bacon in there, some American cheese, some Papa Lou's secret sauce. It was more of like a Chipotle barbecue sauce, and then toasted on a brioche bun, which I thought was a fantastic entree, but Connor said, you know what, I just want to dive into dessert. So that's what we're going to do. So we decided to go with the Macked Out Donuts. This is what they look like on the plate there. Everybody's smiling for the donuts. Daniel, his first time out here, he's cheesing. Phillip's ready to go. Here's the Macked Out Donuts, Connor. They're small donut holes tossed in cinnamon sugar. They have a cream cheese frosting, a chocolate glaze, and a sea salt caramel glaze as well. And man, goodness, do these look good.
All right. Everybody at the same time? Here we go.
Let's do it. These are a little messy.
All right. Cheers, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Down the hatch. ASMR for you.
Yeah. That's solid.
Really a perfectly placed donut hole right there. It just kind of melts in the mouth.
I'm going in for round 2.
Oh, Richie's going back for another ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sauces just really bring it all together. I got that hint of chocolate right off the tongue, and then you keep chewing, and you get that little sea salt caramel in there. And then that cream cheese frosting just smacks you right at the last second before it goes down the gullet. And, man, this is a phenomenal donut hole to me right here. I think we got to go around the horn and rate this one 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll start it. You want me to start it?
Start it off for us,
I'm going to go with 8.8.
8.8 out of Richie. All right. I think I'm going to save myself for last. Let's send it over to Daniel. Daniel, what do we got? 1 out of 10. He says a 7.7. So 2 very high ratings so far on the rating scale. We're not exactly sure where everybody's ratings are coming from. We'll get more description momentarily. But, Phillip, what are we thinking here? 1 out of 10 for the donut holes. 8.3. Wow.
I'm the highest right now.
Shoot. All right. So, I mean, I think I might be right in that range with the 8.3. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5, just a couple points above. And I'm going to go in for round 2 to see if that changes my decision at all. This one's much more sauced up. The cream cheese, man.
All right. I'm going one more.
Well, that would be your last one, Richie.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're ballless.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one word to describe these donut holes, Daniel. Go. Delicious. That's what we got from him. One word from Daniel to describe the donut holes. All right, Phillip, one word to describe these donut holes. Savory. Wow. It's almost like he's a writer or something. He's got a big vocabulary. Wow.
I'm going to go with rich.
I'm going to go with yum. That's all we need. Simple, 3 letters. That's my vocabulary right there.
And those were our Macked Out Donuts, which are donut holes tossed in cinnamon sugar, cream cheese frosting with a chocolate glaze, and you could get them down here at the Carolina Ale House. Stop down here. Their hours are late. So you don't have to go get ice cream for dessert. You could stop by here and get some really good desserts. They have a brookie as well. Chocolate chip cookies served with some vanilla ice cream, and then a chocolate layer cake. So 3 options on the dessert side.
And some crazy margaritas, cocktails, anything you can mix up. They have whiskey as well. A million taps out here, outside and inside. Doesn't matter what kind of weather it is. Carolina Ale House is bringing people together here. And we mentioned it before, there's just TVs around every single corner. The game day just never ends when you're at Carolina Ale House.
This is the spot to be for every Smokies game, for every Tennessee game here off Kingston Pike at the Carolina Ale House. All right, we are here because we are talking some Smokies baseball. They are playing the Chattanooga Lookouts here tonight in game 4 of the series at Covenant Health Park. And we love to talk about the affiliation with the Smokies and the Cubs. And I think that's where we're going to start this thing by highlighting a former Smokie, Jonathan Long, who was on last year's team. He is absolutely tearing it up right now in AAA. Some could be one of the best AAA players in the game right now. Second in batting average in the International League, hitting .357. 7th in RBIs with 43. 8th in on-base percentage. 6th in OPS. And 3rd is 71 hits. I think it'll be kind of tough for Long to find a spot on the big league roster because he's a first baseman. But maybe they could bring him up if they need a bat or two, as a DH. But right now, he's the best prospect that the Chicago Cubs have in this organization.
Yeah, it's a jam-packed corner infield situation for the Cubs. They've brought Matt Shaw up. They sent him down, but now he's back with the roster, and he's looking like he's going to stick there at third base. Of course, you've got Dansby Swanson over there, man in the 6 hole. Nico Horner, the longtime Cub, over at second base. And then at first base, it's been a little bit of a platoon between Michael Busch, Justin Turner, and even a little bit of John Birdie, who is not a first baseman, but they've been using him over there just to try to get the platoon bats in there, as Craig Counsell loves to do. So Jonathan Long, if there's an injury, obviously that's not what we're hoping for, but he may be the next guy up if one of those infielders seems to get hurt. And as well, you've seen in Iowa that Jonathan Long has been getting some play over at third base and in the corner outfield spots. So whatever he needs to be able to do to go ahead and keep climbing that ladder towards the Cubs, seems like he's going to be able to do it, and he's going to try to do it to the best of his ability. But the only other thing I wanted to mention here, Richie, and this will kind of transition us into the next segment, Jonathan Long could be a prime trade candidate for the Cubs as they become buyers here as we get right towards the trade deadline. So it'll be interesting to see if he's still with Iowa at the end of the trade deadline.
I saw a rumor today with Ballesteros, who was a Smoky last year, to the Texas Rangers for Tyler Mahle, who has returned from an injury. He's only pitched 8 games this year. He's got a 2.02 ERA and 13 starts. So he's been a pretty good starter, but the question is, do you want to give up Ballesteros? So the problem with Ballesteros in this organization is he can't really catch right now because he's still working on his catching abilities. That's what the Cubs need. They need a catcher, but he's not ready for that yet. So they got to play him at first base, and they got to DH him. Now, same thing with Jonathan Long. Ballesteros, his prospect stock is high right now, so it'd be a good time to sell him. But do you want to give up a potential big league catcher or DH for maybe a 1-year deal with Mahle and a guy that's towards the end of his career? I don't know. It's a tough situation for the Cubs right now.
This was an interesting rumor. I mean, we talked about Chapman just yesterday on the trade report here for the Cubs, and there's been a lot of names linked to the Cubs. As we've said, they are seeming to be buyers as we head into the trade deadline season. But Moises Ballesteros just seems like one of those guys you want to hold on to. But funny enough, we mentioned how he's still coming along with the catching. He's listed on the Iowa roster as a designated hitter. That's also got to hurt his value just there a little bit. And like we said, the Cubs are jam-packed right now. They have 3 elite outfielders in Ian Happ, PCA, and Kyle Tucker, which means Seiya Suzuki is the prime DH right now. None of those guys are going to be playing any infield. Ian Happ, of course, has some experience in that role, but it seems like he's going to be out in the corner outfield spots no matter what. He's a gold glover out there, and that's where they're going to stick him. So for Moises, we saw Miguel Amaya go to the IL for a couple of weeks, and they still opted to go to Reese McGuire over Moises Ballesteros. What that says to me is that they were looking for more of that defensive catcher to be the backup to Carson Kelly, who's been really popping off this season so far. Craig Counsell has him up in the 3 spot most of the time nowadays. Yeah,
no, they definitely do value their defensive catching. We saw that when they acquired Yan Gomes a couple years ago. Gomes was the guy that wasn't known for his bat, but was a fantastic defensive catcher. And it's the same thing with McGuire, who they just got. So when you look at the Cubs, their bullpen's been great. I don't think they need a bullpen pitcher, but definitely an emphasis on a starting pitcher. So we'll see how it shapes out. We highlighted Jonathan Long and Moises Ballesteros, two of the prospects for the Cubs organization that played with the Smokies last year, and great to see them succeed in AAA. All right, let's move over to another Cubs topic, and I think we got to highlight how good they have been at home this year at Wrigley Field. Last year, just scored over 3 runs per game at Wrigley at the friendly confines, but this year outscoring opponents 156 to 117 in 29 games at home. I think Wrigley's got one of the best crowds in all of Major League Baseball. You know, it's up there top 5 with the Dodgers and the Yankees. Just one of the best passionate fan bases in all of Major League Baseball. They're scoring over 5 runs a game this year at Wrigley, and they're just fantastic at home, and that's why right now they're first in the National League East.
Yeah, and funny enough, they've been even better when they're on the road. On the road in 2025, they scored 181 runs in 28 games. That's over 6 runs per game. And this was a similar story that we saw in 2024. The Cubs had a 44-37 record at Wrigley Field, and they were scoring just over 4 runs a game. And if you average that out to the expected win rate, it would have been just around the same record for them back in 2024. So in 2025, yes, the offensive production is up, but they're still finding ways to be better on the road. And one key factor that I wanted to point out here in that, Richie, is that the average game time temperature for their 29 games at home right now is 55 degrees. And we're out here in Knoxville where you walk outside and start sweating immediately. So this kind of weather to start a baseball game has to be costly. It's got to be impacting these players, how they're going about their business, how the game is going. And in 19 of those 29 games, the game time temp of 59 or lower. 9 were 49 or lower, and only 10 games have had a game time temp over 60 degrees, just 4 over 70. So still hoping for some more heat in Chicago, I'm sure, because this team is certainly providing some fire.
Right, that's some National League Central ball for you with the Cincinnati Reds, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Chicago Cubs, 3 cities in the Midwest that could get cold, especially this time of year. So for the Cubs, they're staying hot with their bats. Hopefully they continue their success, and it's great to see our former Smokies succeeding both in the minor leagues and Major League Baseball. All right, it's time for our favorite segment of the day, and we're giving away 2 of the camo die-cast cars from yesterday's racing night at the ballpark. It's time for trivia here at the Carolina Ale House off of Kingston Pike, and we're going to go question and then answer this time.
All right.
So we'll see how they do. In what year did the Cubs break their infamous curse by winning the World Series? So everybody already has the sheets. They've already filled them out. We're just saying them for the first time on air. That was 2016 with the win over the Cleveland Indians in Game 7 at Progressive Field. One I will never forget because I was on the opposite side of that cheering for Cleveland growing up in Northeast Ohio. But looking back for the Cubs to break their infamous curse by winning that game and the way it shaped out, Rajai Davis with the line drive down the left field line to tie the game, I was like, wow, Cleveland's going to win the game. But they brought out Brian Shaw, who sat for 30 minutes in the rain delay and gave up a couple of hits. The double down the line ended things, and the Cubs were able to win the 2016 World Series. All right, you want to give us number 2, Connor?
Yeah, number 2. Who holds the Cubs record for the most career home runs in their career? Because it's career home runs, not just season home runs, it's career home runs. And here we go. It's either going to be Ryan Sandberg, Sammy Sosa, Anthony Rizzo, or Billy Williams. Did you have a guess on this one, Richie?
I guessed Sammy Sosa.
You would be correct there. Sammy Sosa coming in at the top of the leaderboard for the most career home runs in Cubs history.
I knew it wasn't Rizzo. I thought about Sandberg. I actually watched Sandberg's game on YouTube the other day when he had those home runs against St. Louis in their comeback win, and I'm like, maybe it could be Sandberg. That's sneaky power, but Sammy Sosa, man, that dude was just jacked, and he played over, 15 years in the big league? So
that's correct.
He had a really good career.
Yeah, and I'm going to steal number 3 from you, Richie, because this is one of my favorite questions. Only one Cub has ever been featured on the cover of MLB The Show since its creation. Which Cub was it? Now I'm looking over here at our production crew. I'm not seeing any for sure answers out of there. The options are Shota Imanaga, Bobby Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Chris Bryant. So I'm not sure if either of our producing crew are big gamers.
Let's get them back on there.
Yep. Let's toss them back up. We got Philip and Daniel over here helping us out behind the keyboards, the sticks, if you will, with this question. So do we have any guesses, guys, or do you know the answer? All right, Philip knows the answer. Daniel, it doesn't seem like you're all the way there yet. He guessed Javi Baez, and that is the correct answer. Bonus points, Daniel, if you can tell me when Javi Baez was on the cover. What year was it for MLB The Show? 2018 was his guess. That is incorrect. It was actually 2020 Javi Baez was on the cover of MLB The Show. So no bonus points for Daniel there, but props to him for getting that one right off the bat.
All right, question number 4. What is the Cubs mascot's name? Is it Clark the Cub, Charlie the Cub, Connor the Cub, or really the Cub?
Wow.
I'm going to go with Connor the Cub.
You would be incorrect, but I wish you were. That would be awesome. I'd love to take a picture with Connor the Cub. Unfortunately, though, it's definitely not going to be Wrigley the Cub, even though that sounds kind of like a trick answer there, but it's not like the rest. Every single other answer, starting with the letter C, and Charlie the Cub isn't quite, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue like Clark the Cub. That is the answer. Answer A, Clark the Cub, the Cubs mascot.
Question 5, your final chance to win one of our camouflage die-cast cars. Which Cubs legend is known as Mr. Cub? Is it Anthony Rizzo, who's featured a lot here in this trivia? Maybe it's his turn to shine. Ryan Sandberg, who we talked about, Ernie Banks, or Sammy Sosa, who's already an answer. So a lot of mind games here in question 5. Do you have any guesses, Connor?
Well, funny enough, my favorite part of this question was when I asked you for the first time, and it just stumped you right off the bat. Unfortunately, I already know the answer, but Daniel, do you know this one? He says Banks. Richie.
Ding, ding, ding.
There it is, Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub. You were saying Anthony Rizzo. I mean, he was a huge impact on this team for that World Series team. Maybe not the brightest star when you have Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Kyle Schwarber flying around the yard. But Rizzo is definitely a leader in the clubhouse. You saw that, how he was able to transfer over that leadership to the Yankees when he was with the team just last year. And unfortunately, that name was already taken by Ernie Banks as Mr. Cup.
All right, that wraps up our trivia segment. We'll see who wins our camouflage die-cast cars, a limited edition item we gave away yesterday on Racing Night. We're going to step aside for break number 1. When we come back, we're going to talk some more Smokies baseball here on the Pilot pregame show, live from the Carolina Ale House off of Kingston Pike.
When you're ready to hit a home run with your banking needs, look no further than First Bank, the official bank of the Knoxville Smokies. Whether you're saving for your next big game or planning for the future, First Bank has got you covered. Visit your local First Bank today or visit us at firstbankonline.com. Up to the plate with confidence. First Bank. Bank.
Spring is here, and so is pollen. Hit a home run with pollen protection at Zips Car Wash. Get all of Zips' best car wash deals in the free Zips mobile app to make caring for your vehicle stress-free. Plus, enjoy Zips free vacuums and free-to-use towels. And spray cleaner to ensure your ride is sparkling inside and out. Leave the dirty work to Zips Car Wash with 20 Knoxville area locations. Find a Zips near you at zipscarwash.com. Zips Car Wash, proud sponsor of the Knoxville Smokies.
Spring is in the air, and that means it's time for a refresh. Whether it's brand new carpets, stunning tile, or high-end cabinetry, Phil's Carpets and Flooring does it all. With unbeatable prices, lighting, fast installation, and customer service that's second to none. Why go anywhere else? When other people can't, Phil's Carpets and Flooring can. Visit philscarpets.com to check out our full catalog, or stop by our showroom in Sevierville. Let Phil hook you up with the best deals in town. Phil's Carpets and Flooring, where your floors and more get a fresh new start.
And we welcome you back to the Carolina Ale House. This is our third and final segment of our pregame show, brought to you by Pilot. With Connor Nelson, I'm Richie Giuliano. Come join us every Friday from this spot when the Smokies are home here at the Ale House off of Kingston Pike. We already talked about the donut holes that we just smashed. I had a great burger for dinner, so a great spot for a three-course meal. The Carolina Ale House here off Kingston Pike also is a sports bar, too, which is rare. You got pool tables behind us. darts, claw machine, punching bag, full-size bar. So a great place to hang out. And we have every Smokies game on the TV.
That's correct, and there's plenty of TVs, so when those Smokies breaks go to commercials, you got plenty of other games or anything to tune into. I mean, we got golf on the TV right now. We got weather. We got Sports Center. We got some WWE over there. There's literally everywhere you look, you're going to start learning something new. If you're a sports fan, this is the place for you.
All right, let's dive into tonight's game. It's the Smokies and the Lookouts in Game 4, and we're going to start with a pitching matchup. So Nick Dean, 1-0, didn't have any runs given up last time. It was his Double-A debut, threw a lot of good pitches and struck out 6, so looking to replicate what he did the first time around against the Barons.
Yeah, had the changeup working, had all of his off-speed pitches working in the zone. He was able to keep the offense off balance all game long against the Barons. He's going to look to do the same exact thing here this time against the Chattanooga Lookouts. And the Lookouts, they haven't been hitting too well in this series, but they're up 2-1. So Nick Dean going to look to give them a quality start while this Smokies offense can try and heat up.
Chase Burns on the other side, former Volunteer, 5-1 with a 154 ERA. The Fireballer, who was a number 2 overall pick last year in the draft. Also a Wake Forest Demon Deacon. So those are two programs that have produced excellent pitching throughout their careers. And Burns, his first return to Knoxville since 2023. So definitely exciting for him to take the hill in front of a Knoxville crowd again.
That's correct. And I hope this crowd has something special in tune for him. It is Princess at the Park night, so I'm not exactly sure what kind of mix of fans we're going to see here on a Saturday night. You never know. It's going to be the Chase Burns haters and the Princess lovers. I don't know how they're going to mix, but it's going to be fun to watch at Covenant Health Park.
As long as they're cheering for the Smokies, I don't care.
Exactly.
And with that, let's talk about our lineup tonight. 25-28, third in the Southern League North. And we're going to start Brett Bateman, the leadoff hitter, hitting .260 this year with 8 RBIs. First time this year, he's going to be the designated hitter for the Smokies, but he's leading off. Corey Joyce is going to slide up to 2 spot at shortstop. Pedro Ramirez, switch hitting third baseman, hitting .284, bats third. B.J. Murray Jr., the switch hitting first baseman, cleans it up. Ethan Hearn, the catcher, bats fifth. Jalen Palmer, the Wendy's double stack batter of the game, batting 6th in right field. Parker Chavers in center, batting 7th. Wogu is in left, batting 8th, and Rayvaj Garcia bats 9th, the second baseman. As we alluded to already, Nick Dean will get his second career Double-A start. And now for the Lookouts, here's Connor.
Yep, Lookouts coming into this one, 26-24 overall record. Second place in the Southern League North. They're a game and a half up of the Smokies and just a game and a half back of the Birmingham Barons. So right in the middle of those two teams, and tonight, Jose Moreno is going to be starting it off with a switch-hitting shortstop, Edwin Arroyo, who's leading it off. It'll be Hector Rodriguez, the left fielder, batting second. Sal Stewart, the big swinger, hitting .312, second on the team with 24 RBIs. He's going to play second base tonight. He's been at third base for most of the series, but playing second base tonight, flipping with Dominic Patelli, as it's going to be the cleanup man, the center fielder, Ethan O'Donnell there in the 4 spot. Ruben Ibarra, the DH, will hit 5th. Dominic Patelli bats 6th, playing third base. It'll be Cade Hunter, the catcher, in the 7th spot. Austin Hendrick, the right fielder, batting 8th. And then the other Austin Callahan, at first base. Fun fact about this lineup, it's the exact same as a go, with the exception of that one positional change, Sal Stewart and Dominic Patelli just flipping around, getting work over at third. Stewart getting some work over at second base. And, of course, the fireballer, Chase Burns, coming out on the mound tonight for the Lookouts.
All right, let's dive into our keys to the game, and I'm going to start with run support. The Lookouts lead this series 2-1. The Smokies were shut out last night, and they only scored 1 run on Wednesday night. And if it weren't for the B.J. Murray Grand Slam on Tuesday night, they wouldn't have scored any runs either. So run support is key tonight. The Smokies batting 152 in this series, and their starters have had no protection. So definitely a key tonight is run support.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because Nick Dean didn't allow any runs in his last outing, but it was still not a clear win for him. When he came out of the game, it was still up in the air. The Smokies weren't up by a lot of runs, and the bullpen had to come in and shut it down, which they did, but of course that was also a shorter game. So here tonight, my key to the game is going to be getting ahead and staying ahead, and that means we need to burn out Chase Burns. He's only walked 9 batters in 46 and 2/3 innings pitched this season, and he struck out 69 batters. When Burns is ahead in the count, batters are just hitting 151 off of him. But when batters are able to get ahead in the count against Burns, opposing batters will hit 222. And in fact, the Smokies are the best team in the Southern League at batting when they are ahead in the count. Their batting average in those situations is 293. OPS nearing 1,000 at 982. So if the Smokies can have a patient approach, if they can knock Chase Burns off the table quickly in this one, hopefully they're going to get him deep into his pitch count and find the bullpen in a position to win the game.
Some great promotions this weekend. Princesses in the Park, which is starting tonight, and then tomorrow is 90s night. And on Sunday, we have our Splash Sunday. Man, I could use a splash right now because it's over 90 degrees here in Knoxville. Our friends at Smoky Mountain, always love teaming up with them. After the game, kids can come up and they can come onto the field to participate in a huge water balloon fight with the mascots. We'll also have designated dry areas in case you want to stay splash free, although you're probably going to want to be involved because of how Splash Sunday with Smoky Mountain.
Yeah, can't forget about the in-person princesses. I think we may have a picture of them. I'm not sure. Philip, our producer, is shaking his head. We may have lost the picture. It was a phenomenal picture, I must say. We've got 4 princesses in the park tonight. There's only one Disney princess that's based off of a true story. Everyone else is made up. Can you guess which one the true story is, Richie?
Cinderella.
That would be incorrect. It's actually Pocahontas, the only Disney princess based off of a real story. So Richie's going to have to get some redemption during the game. He'll, I hope, ask Mick that same question. I would love to hear Mick's answer to that.
I might bring that up on the broadcast tonight.
Indeed.
All right, that wraps up our Pilot pregame show here at the Carolina Ale House off of Kingston Pike. Thanks to Philip. Thanks to Daniel for being great producers and great donut eaters tonight. Thanks to Connor for joining us. And we'll be back here the next time the Smokies are home on Friday, which is actually a long ways away. But hopefully, you guys are able to come out here. We gave away tickets. We gave away race cars, die-cast cars, not actual size race cars. I wish. But it's been a fun time here at the Ale House. We're going to tune off, and we're going to be back on the air in T-minus an hour and 30 minutes. Catch our Pilot pregame show, and then followed by our game action. It is game number 4, the Smokies and the Lookouts, coming up next on the Smokies Baseball Network.
Fans, for the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies!